Here I am in Hespeler, Cambridge. I'm looking for the River Run Trail, walking trail, or the Mill Run Trail, or the Rail Trail. I know it goes along this railroad track, and I know it goes along the Speed River that passes through Hespeler, which is right in front of me. And I think that's the trail heading west toward Preston and Riverside Park. And there's the parking lot. This is a town that's 1784. It was settled, and it eventually in the 1800s had a lot of textile and woolen mills here. So let's go for a walk and see what happens. I've been on this trail in the summertime a few years ago. It's a beautiful trail. It's got the river right beside it in the hilly town of Hespeler, or you can go a few kilometers west in Cambridge and hit Preston, which is part of Cambridge too, and walk east on this trail along the river. Lots of willow trees to the left of me here, hugging the river. Willow trees are famous for growing beside water, and they get kind of ratty looking this time of year, but once they start to bloom, they're quite beautiful. So it looks like there's like a double trail here. There's one there and one that we're walking on. Isn't that the Dominion Woolens factory?
Yes.
Yeah, I used to, when I was a teenager, bring pop into that factory and put it into the machines from the restaurant that I worked at. That's quite the willow tree. And then this is a cedar tree. So we got cedars growing along the edge of the water, but not quite along the edge. They're right here. And then the willow trees are right at the water's edge, and Dominion Woolens is across there. And it basically, Hespeler started to boom when it was a industrial town, and this was in the 1930s when the textile industry in this area took off, and everything was fine. I think it's famous for, in the 30s and 40s, every family that lived in Hespeler had one person working at least in that textile mill. And then when the war came, 39 to 45, Second World War, and all of the men left to go to war, women came from Northern Ontario and from the east coast of Canada into this community to work in the mill. That was the beginning of women's liberation, I think. So this is quite the stunning view here of the falls and the mill across the way, which is now empty and has been for years, and they've talked about turning it into something like maybe a hotel or just tearing it down. This is the Speed River. It eventually, downstream, joins up in Preston with the Grand River. And then the two of them take the water down to Lake Erie. Very peaceful. Beautiful, meandering Speed River. Cedar forests, willow trees, little boardwalks, little bridges, lots of ducks and geese and birds. And if you haven't been here, you should try it and go all the way from Hespeler to Preston or from Preston to Hespeler. And in the fall and the summer it would be nice too.
There's a pretty rock.
There is a pretty rock. It looks like a limestone.
Yeah.
Right?
It's just there.
Yep.
Used to be deposited though.
Big cedar trees. We're in the Carolinian forest. It'd be interesting to see if we can spot any black cherry trees on this walk. Lots of fallen trees in here too.
This old.
Boy, that's an old one.
Wow. It's an old one.
Still a piece of art.
Yeah.
These must be buckthorn, Sue. So I think they are the buckthorn that destroys the other trees around it. It gets blackberries on it. Yep, it has them too. Little blackberries that the birds will eat and then poop out in different parts of this countryside, and more buckthorns will grow. Some,
I think it's buckthorn.
I think so. So there's a large willow that uprooted and fallen into the river. I can see a duck over there, or a goose, can't see. It looks like a duck. The water's cold. It's a -12 today. And we're in about the middle of February. Ducks. Mergans or ducks. Right, Sue?
No, I don't think so.
No?
Mallards.
Mallards? Is that a kind of a duck?
Mhm.
They're sticking their bums in the air and their beaks in the water looking for what?
Anything that they can find.
Like fish? Or is it
I don't know.
vegetation?
Both probably. They'd eat vegetation too, I think.
What a beautiful spot here though, eh?
Yeah.
There's two of them scooting along,
Yeah.
trying to get away.
Getting away from the gang.
There's even a few spruce trees in here. Not only the buckthorn, those ones with no leaves, those bush scraggly looking things right here everywhere, but there's some spruce trees, pine trees. And if you listen closely, you'll hear the traffic on the 401 highway that passes through Cambridge, which is again Hespeler and Preston and Galt. 401 highway goes, I think, from at least Montreal in eastern Canada all the way to Detroit, which is near Lake Erie and Lake St. Clair in there. So it's a busy highway. We have two giants again in this trail, on this trail called the Oaks. Remember, they're high up on the tree chain because they're so old and they do so much for the environment around them, which is good. The oak. Whoa.
That one over here, that's an oak. This one is...
So the oak has got the bark that goes vertical, and it's a giant straight tree.
Do you think that one's a willow? The big one there?
I think that one's a willow. Yes, yeah. This is an old willow too. It looks like it's an entranceway into the upside down. Wow. This willow has been around a while.
The Three Musketeers.
Heading into Hespeler. Civilization ahead. I love the Mill Run Trail.